Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking. That means a lot that you guys keep clicking. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making. And today we're talking top 5 Survivor premieres of all time. And with this premiere coming up in 2 days, I felt like it was the right time to make this epic video about the top 5 best premieres that we've ever seen. Now, because this is such a tall task to rank these premieres, I decided to call on a good friend of mine, Bandit Survivor Content. If you want to see the first 5 picks from our collab, meaning 10 through 6 of this list, it's over on his channel. Check out the top link in the description to watch that video, and then come back to this one after. And so this video will be 5 through 1, meaning the 5 best Survivor premieres. If you haven't already, make sure to like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff because it's free, it's easy, and it really helps the channel out. And if that's it, go ahead, Bandit, take over.
Davids and Goliaths gather around because at number 5 we have season 37's premiere. David vs. Goliath is regarded as one of the best seasons of Survivor, with the first episode being no exception, and this was actually the first season of Survivor I ever watched, so perhaps I'm a little biased putting it in the 5th place slot, but the theme is strong throughout the episode, with even the Marooning having a fun obstacle course where the perceived weakest Davids crush the Goliaths in extremely entertaining fashion due to them selecting the correct horses. Back on the beaches, we have a lot of fun moments, like where else are we going to see Mike White and John Hennigan in the same vicinity? Christian has several adorable monologues, Davey has a fun character moment of catching an octopus and going completely ballistic, and oh, Mike White goes completely incognito in search for the idol in the forest, without a glass of wine on this occasion. But this sparks the Goliaths hours later to all go berserk and search for the idol on their own, introducing, in my opinion, one of the most underrated edits on the show. Season 37 pulls off a cross between Amanda's idol in season 16 and Rob's amulet coin in season 40, where they show you scene after scene of Goliath searching for the idol, only for Dan to reveal he already had it. In a flashback scene, he explains he found the idol behind a rock, and his presentation is genius. While the episode doesn't have a vote out, the time set up for the boot plus tribal is instead dedicated to showing us the David's personal stories, which really helps define them as the likeable underdogs this season. We also have the heartbreaking and almost jarring medical evacuation of Pat after the first challenge, which further cements the David's arc as they literally lost their strongest David to something out of their control. This premiere has pretty much everything: a little bit of cringe via Cara and Dan's showmance, 3 seconds on the island, a lot of humorous scenes, tons of hard-hitting emotional moments, but it's unfortunately lacking that elimination to wrap up the episode we've come accustomed to in Survivor. So number 5 seems fair, and I'll hand the mic back over to Spencer.
Alright, so this brings us to our number 4, which I had no doubt in my mind. I always wanted to have Survivor China on this list. I felt like it was a necessity. This, just like for Parksy, how it was one of his first seasons for David vs. Goliath, was also one of my first seasons. China, for me, has so much nostalgia, and I think it honestly doesn't really make me biased here. I think this would have deserved a spot anyway, but it just helped when we sat down to make this list. I needed to have China here at this spot. And for me, the biggest thing with China is it puts you in the vibe of being in China. It really makes you feel like you've gone on vacation to China, which I think is a big deal. Not to mention, obviously, the great camp life scenes. We really get a vibe for the two tribes, and we really get a feel as to who the people on each tribe are who are helping and not helping. It's very clear why Chicken goes home, the boot. It's very clear why the people who almost go home but don't go home are, for an example, that very religious lady. Is her name Leslie? I don't know. I forget. But I feel like, to me, the episode really culminates over the fact that the location already is amazing, but then they put us in there and make us feel like we are there with them. That opening is iconic. The characters are iconic. They introduce Todd, the mastermind, great. They introduce Amanda, you know, the really strong mentally and physically, but not necessarily emotionally, great. They introduce Courtney, the villain, great. They do a great job of really encapsulating what the season is going to be about, and also really getting us interested in not only the characters, but the locale as well. Continuing on at 3, I have Pearl Islands. I feel like this season, on top of that, was a season that kind of drew me in. And I think this is the best opening 15 minutes of any episode of Survivor, or sorry, I should say season of Survivor. I feel like to me, the most important thing here is not only do they get us involved in this Pearl Islands culture, really ingraining us in what it's like to be in that village, bargaining for what you're going to eat tonight, what you're gonna wear tomorrow, what you're going to play with tomorrow. It really felt like you were in that village and living with those people. On top of that, it gave us great character moments between Rupert stealing the things and really embracing that pirate theme, to also just encapsulating the pirate theme itself in the fact that you're given this much and you have to kind of get this treasure with what you were given. But getting back to those character moments, I feel like fair play, kind of being okay with Rupert stealing the stuff, again, kind of shows fair play. Sandra, kind of just having a no nonsense attitude with her speaking Spanish and not really wanting to deal with her team, who is kind of struggling to understand those natives. On top of that, the Morgan tribe kind of being behind the curve, not having as good of a strategy going in as the Drake tribe did. It really is foreshadowing the future for the season. To me, it's very, very telling. It's very, very entertaining. And on top of that, it's a great format to show us what this season is going to be like.
Grappling, shoulder dislocating, frog marching, and causing toes to do weird J shapes. And number 2, we have heroes versus villains. And what's not to love? You have the biggest villains in Survivor history, as well as the biggest heroes in Survivor history. Well, except Candace, who, abandoned her entire tribe and verbally abused Jonathan, but specifics. The intro is great, having confessional after confessional, from Survivor legend talking about why they deserve to be on their designated tribe. The opening challenge, Battle Dig, contains more iconic moments in itself than some other Survivor premieres, with Courtney, Sugar, and Coach all having fantastic character moments during this challenge. We get the return of Russell going from his megalomaniac persona in season 19 to confessing how he is a starstruck superfan from all these all-stars coming into this season. He continues the same game as before, aligning with Danielle and Parvati, already showing the signs of his eventual downfall this season, as he's shown to have not learned from his flaws in Samoa. We have the continuation of relationships like Tom and Stephanie, James and Amanda, and Colby plus Jerry. Within this premiere, there are also fantastic character moments, like how the show is taking seemingly every opportunity to mock Coach, and we have Coach and Jerry's relationship, JT being a villain on the heroes tribe, Rob being a hero on the villains tribe, and what becomes the season-long theme for Colby being a fish out of water. He is shown asking Candace if she knows any of these people, and claims the villains won't have fire to directly cut to them with a fire. Every part of this premiere gives us something. There really isn't much filler, making the 2 hours fly in spite of there being only one boot. However, the boot in Sugar is pretty underwhelming and pretty obviously foreshadowed throughout the episode, with a secondary boot option in Rupert built up throughout the entire episode, not even having his name thrown out after the challenge. So for me, it ranks at number 2, with number 1 just eking it out.
And at number 1, I feel like it's not really a surprise. I feel like when you're talking about Survivor lists, you're going to see Kagian at number 1 for just about almost everything except the negative things. And the premiere is no different. First of all, it introduces the twist of brains versus brawn versus beauty pretty well with that opening. On top of that, the choice for the tribe to pick their weakest member, and then the weakest member gets the choice to kind of either flip it on them or be a good tribe member. I like that twist. Token Cheens, and I think it works out well in this season as well. On top of that, we get Garrett's kind of arc from getting an idol and being in power to completely falling apart and playing the game horribly. We get David playing the game way too hard right off the bat. We get Tony's introduction with that spy shack. We get Morgan kind of being made a fool of, which is always fun to see. On top of that, we get the Brain Tribe just completely falling apart, which is hilarious to watch. We get Cass's introduction as this like badass mom or whatever who's not really going to take any crap. I think this season is really, really good, but this premiere really kicks it off and makes the season what it is and really opens up what's supposed to be the best season of Survivor really ever. But what do you think? What are your top 5 Survivor premieres of all time? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, none of this happens without you guys. Without you guys, I'm sure we're guys playing a weird microphone. So as always, thank you. And if that's it, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.